RV owners, this is what the back of the fireplace in your RV looks like if you happen to have an electric fireplace. Now this one is actually in my house in a TV cabinet, but it is the same exact ones you'll see in your RV. So a couple points I want to give you on these because these are a hot topic. They fail quite often. One, most people don't know this, but these are just plugged in your RV, just like this one is in my house. But this is just plugged in your RV. There's usually an outlet mounted somewhere behind it. So if they quit working, looking to make sure it's still plugged in is one of the first things you should check, because bouncing down the road, that plug will come unplugged sometimes. Now in your RV, the screws to hold it in will usually be on the business end of it. In other words, the side where you can see it on the outside. I'm currently behind it. Mine is mounted from the back, but again, this is a TV cabinet. So you'll have to remove those 4 screws or 2 screws, depending on what type it is, and check to make sure it's plugged in. Now, if that's not it, I can tell you, this one's nice. It actually has a diagram. The 2 most common things to fail on these are both in the same place. They're on the control board. And that would be the 12 volt step down for the lights and the flame, and then the relay that actually activates the heating element and blower motor in there. Either way, both of them being part of the control board. Now, let's say you do want to take a shot in the dark and try replacing the control board. The control boards for some of these from the manufacturers can be pretty expensive. On that note, if you look up your model number, which should be somewhere on the back of it, you'll see that the replacement fireplace, if you tried to replace it, is also extremely expensive if you buy it from the manufacturer. I've seen them as high as $700. Now, my tip for you there, in which I've shared this before, earlier this year I just did one, look around, take measurements of that fireplace and your opening, and you can probably find one at Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's, Amazon for less than half of the price your manufacturer wants to replace it. And even if you have to change the size a little bit, it's not a big deal. Again, in that video I did, mine was actually about 1 inch shorter, and with a simple piece of black trim, we made it look like it was the exact right size to fit in that cabinet. Just like if it was slightly bigger, you could also open the cabinet up a little bit. And the last tip for you has to do with the inlet. The inlet side that it actually draws air from is almost always on the rear or the top. You really should take your fireplace off maybe at least once a year. It's just 4 screws, so you can check to see how much dust has built up back here, which is exactly why I'm back here, to make sure this vent is clear. As a bonus tip, if you're ever wondering why it doesn't stay accurate with the temperature, it's because a lot of these, the thermistor that actually checks the temperature of the air is mounted inside of the cabinet, which is never going to get warm, which is why these things usually run their face off.